we played sports, but we used to be avid Indians fans, Browns fans, Cavalier fans, and I remember us going to the baseball games. Your dad and you would take us to the ball games. Was sports a big part of your childhood, the Cleveland sport team scene?
Well, in 1948, when the Indians won the World Series, that summer I went to every Sunday game, and my father and I would go. And at that time they played double headers, so the ball game started at 1 o'clock, and we wouldn't get home until probably 8 at night.
Wow.
Remembering back then we didn't have a car. We never had a car when I was growing up. After into the Depression, we had to give up the car that we took us back and forth to Canada, and we took we either walked or we took bus transportation or streetcars at that time.
Yeah.
And we went to every game, weekend game, double headers. I had autographs of all the players. We used to go back and stand where they came out of the stadium, and they were willing to give us their autographs.
Let's talk a little bit about your schooling. What elementary school did you go to?
St. Anne's.
St. Anne's. Do you have did you have a favorite teacher at St. Anne's? Is there a teacher that stands out? Were they nuns?
Yes, they were Ursuline nuns.
Okay. Is there a particular teacher that stands out in your life?
Not I wouldn't say any one particular.
No? Okay, so you went to, that's where you went to elementary school, and then you went into, they had a junior high school?
No.
No.
I went there to the 8th grade, and then I went to Beaumont High School, which was a private girls' high school, and I earned the money for my own tuition. It was back then, which was a lot of money for us, was $110 a year.
Okay.
And I went to 4 years there.
Okay. You did well in school?
I was an average student.
Average student? Okay. And so from school you went into college. And what college did you go to?
My first 2 years of college were at St. Joseph's College in West Hartford, Connecticut. I lived with my grandmother and my aunt, who had left and gone up there to Connecticut to live.
Your aunt being your mother's sister?
No, my father's sister.
Your father's sister. Okay. Your father's sister and your father's mother.
Right.
So you lived with them, and that was where? Vermont?
No, Hartford, Connecticut.
Hartford, Connecticut. You took the train there, didn't you?
Right.
You took the train from Cleveland. Now you were there for 2 years, and something that I found interesting was yesterday when we were on a trip back from the ocean, you told me the reason you didn't finish that was because your mother asked you to come back to Cleveland.
No, she didn't ask me. She told me.
She told you. And you were how old? 19, 20?
Yes, I was 19.
And she told you to come back. And she did so because you liked it so much.
She knew I'd never come back.
She knew you'd never come back. Okay. And so when you did come back to Cleveland, you went to where? Ursuline?
Ursuline College, which was at the top of Cedar Road Hill.
Okay. And at Ursuline you majored, what's your degree in?
Bachelor of Science of Home Economics.
Home economics. What is, when I hear the word economics, I think money. I don't know why. You think the economy, money. What is home economics? What is that?
It was the study of food, nutrition,
Okay.
and of textiles and design, of clothing. Afterwards when I graduated, I went to work for the East Ohio Gas Company as a home economist.
Okay.
We used to go out and give demonstrations and have cooking schools for the high schools and for women's groups. And we used to plan our own, during the summer we used to plan our own presentations and do a lot of testing of the recipes so that everything was just right. And then we'd go out and we'd give these demonstrations to the various groups.
Let's take a minute if we can, having talked about your education and schooling. What's the name of your first love? Do you have a recollection of a first love? Maybe it was somebody in elementary school, maybe it was somebody you used to play with in the neighborhood. Is there somebody that stands out in your mind that you think, oh, that was my first love?
Not really.
No? You can't,
But lots of friends, and when I was in college, I had boyfriends, as everybody does, I
okay.
would assume.
Did you, so you didn't date too much through high school, did you?
We traveled in groups.
You traveled in groups, okay. So it wasn't a common thing where the boy would pick you up on a Saturday night and you'd go out to the movie, something like that. It was more of a going out as groups.
Probably some of the kids did. That was never one of my prime.
Okay. So now, if I can, let's transition this discussion to the family and raising the family. As I understand it, you met Dad, Ernie Hall. You met Dad at a spaghetti dinner, if I'm not
No.
mistaken. No.
It was it's called the Keoma Club, Catholic Young Men and Women's
Okay.
Club, and it was just before Easter.
Mm-hmm.
That was in 1955.
Just before Easter. Do you remember how the two of you met? Was it?
He was waiting tables, and I went with a very close friend of mine.
Okay. So you met Dad, and what year was that?
1955.
1955,
It
and
was April. In fact, to be exact, it was April 1st.
April 1st, 1955. And you met Dad April 1st, 1955. When did you marry?
December 26th, 1955.
And what day did you meet? April 1st?
April 1st.
So it was a very short courtship.
Well, yes, but I had dated many people
Before that.
before that.
Okay,
And I
so
more or less,
all right, so you met Dad in April, and you married him in December. Was it a big wedding?
no, because I paid for it myself.
Mhm.
And we didn't have weddings were so different back there. A big wedding was considered where there would be the wedding in the morning, and then the receptions were all in the afternoon. There were no big evening receptions. In the crowd that I was with, you would have, they would either be just having like appetizers, and punch and cake
Uh-huh.
in the afternoon. Our wedding was at St. Anne's in the morning, and then the tradition was for brides that graduated from Ursuline College to go back to the college, and there was it was called the Red Staircase. Only seniors and brides were allowed to use those steps, and the brides would walk down the Red Staircase
Mhm.
and then to the chapel, and they would have a benediction ceremony, a blessing. And then we went to the Alcazar Hotel and had a breakfast, or it was really a big lunch or a dinner type foods.
Uh-huh.
And then that was our wedding.
So so you got married, and then you what was Dad doing at that time for work? Was he going to college? Was he?
Now he was working for Reliance Electric Company. He was a time where they, I don't remember exactly the term, but they would figuring out ways that people could do things in a shorter time. I guess that's what you'd really call it.